was pretty exciting. Honestly, the thing that drew me to the movie when I first came on board was the script. Was the movie is the script, and it is how they wrote it, and it was. I remember laying in bed, and my wife was with me, and I was just laughing out loud, literally. And she's like, and she kept on asking, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "I'm reading the script of Deadpool," which she had no idea what it was, but at the time. But yeah, so and I just never had that experience reading a script before, that it actually made me laugh so hard, just over and over again. So when I did that, I just kind of knew that it was something I would love to be involved in, and honestly, that was even before I had seen the leaked footage. It was, yeah, I was just, and then when I saw that, which was, a little vignette from within the script, then I was really excited, and then after meeting Tim, for those who've met Tim and know Tim will all say the same thing, which is he's amazing and he's hilarious and he's very straightforward and just a great guy and a lot of fun to work with. Absolutely. I mean, we knew it when Tim had done his first director's cut. It had very minimal amount of effects, and typically when you see those films, they're not pretty, especially ones that are effects heavy. So yeah, it was you had Ryan out there, and he was playing, and TJ's incredible, and then Ed and everybody else that plays off of them. It worked so well. The casting was great combined with the script, and yeah, you just wanted to be with those characters for as long as you could be with them, which is what you want in a movie, and that was great. Yeah, for me, a dream working in visual effects is that nobody notices I've ever done anything on the movie. I want to be the invisible player. So, the fact that everybody just watched this movie and never really had a conversation about it makes me so happy, because we did our job. You watch that movie, you don't think about visual effects, you just think about a movie and the characters and the events that happen around them, and you never wonder if that's a digital metal guy standing there having that conversation with them, or she's blowing up another girl, or whatever. It all kind of flowed with the movie, and nobody really kind of talked about that part of it, which is what made me incredibly happy. Yeah, typically when somebody like myself comes on board, we're one of the earliest department heads in the whole film. Yeah, I'll come on before production designers or DPs even, or anything like that, because really it's our responsibility to figure out how we're going to even shoot anything and get it done, and then there's so much that I deal with that is the unreal and needs to be visualized, that I come on to help kind of give everybody a clear vision. A difficult thing about my world is when people talk about an effect, and you could say that's going to be blue, but your idea of blue is different than my idea of blue or somebody else's idea of blue. So attaching words to a visual concept is a very difficult thing, when you're in a group of a number of people, much less two. So that's really a big part of what we do early on in the process, is trying to finesse that and suss it out, and really kind of set up something that is tangible that people can actually look at and understand. Because when you're making a movie, you have all these people and all these groups running around doing their jobs, and they haven't seen all that. They haven't seen all the concept, and they haven't seen all the previs, and they don't know the full story of what's happening around them at that one particular moment. They just know their job. So it really becomes incumbent upon visual effects supervisor to get in there and just make sure everybody who's involved in this particular shot or day shooting or production, that they understand what they're not seeing as it comes along. So that's a really big part of your role early on in the film. Yeah, that's a huge thing, and you really, again, one of the things I love about my job is there's so many aspects to it, and it changes from pre-production, pre-pre, which is before anybody comes on, pre-production, which is the design and development. Then you get into production and how you have to plan and then execute. And then lastly, in post-production, when we do all the computer work and all the visualization comes to reality or digital reality. But you know, so a big part of that early process is definitely getting in line with the director and understanding their language and what they're trying to accomplish and the looks they're going for. And I think that first happens in your initial meeting with the director, if you haven't worked with him before, like I hadn't worked with Tim, and you really find out if you two gel. And Tim, we got along right away. We definitely have the same lowbrow sense of humor, and you know, it was really easy to kind of, when he would describe things, I knew instantly what he was talking about. And it just made it, both in animation, which is very important to Tim, as well as look and design and everything else. So once we got going, there wasn't a ton of back and forth having to happen. It was just, we're trying to do this. And it's great. Okay, I'll take that. We'll get it done. No problem. And it worked out. It was great. Yeah, I know. I think you're starting to get to that saturated comic book market, and you got to keep exploring and keep experimenting, and it was going to happen eventually, you know, and I'm sure it's going to happen a lot more now. But I think the fact that Deadpool didn't take itself so seriously and was willing to have fun, and you know, it's a character obviously that lends itself to that, but that really took the edge off of the R-rated movie, because really, you know, the violence is less violent than a lot of other films that aren't even necessarily R-rated. They're more over the top and they're playful, and plus the fact that he's joking while he does it, it really doesn't make it feel as violent as some of the other movies that are like a Batman movie feels more violent to me in a lot of ways than Deadpool does. And, you know, there's obviously many other areas of Deadpool that makes it R-rated, but yeah, so it was interesting that I think the tone was a big part of what made it feasible. I think the box office kind of speaks for itself in that one. You know, anybody who might have wanted to hold on to that, I think they went and saw that movie, you know, and probably twice. So so yeah, I don't think anybody had a problem once the movie came out and they saw what we were trying to do. And even in the whole marketing that Fox did was just so fun and over the top and unique and different. And it all kind of I feel like a lot of it kind of circles back to Ryan Reynolds, and that is his humor, and that's how he is, and that's how he was on set, and that's how he was with the writers when they were writing it, and that's how he was with Tim, and I think that's how he was with the marketing. And he really, like, he was into the marketing. You know, some actors are just I had one actor who once told me that, you know, they love acting and they don't get paid to act, they get paid to do marketing, you know. So yeah, he really was into all of it, and you just felt that on set, you felt it in post and everywhere. And likewise with everybody else in the crew too, I think, which is what you need to get that lightning in a bottle, is everybody to kind of be on board. And I think he and Tim together, that personality came out, and it just, you know, infested the rest of the team for sure. It was just I can say it was the most fun I've ever had on a project. And you know, truly, when you work on a film, I deal with a lot of different VFX facilities, and some areas are very complicated and difficult, and some are easy and cruise, and that doesn't mean they become the easy parts of it. And I would say for down to the last one, each one we had a great time. Every one of them, if you asked them which show they had a blast on, they would say this one, which is a unique and fun thing. So it was a lot. You know, one of the things I loved that we had to fight for. Here's a little detail for you. At first, they weren't going to let us animate the face on the mask, and then after we did a test to show them what it would look like, that we ended up using in the Comic-Con trailer. And after we did that, then they're like, okay, we've got to have that in there. And that became a process that Weta ended up doing all the facial animation, and we had figured out a process where we would go into Ryan's trailer every couple weeks, and he would read every line that he had done in the mask, and then we would take that and use that as our baseline for the actual facial animation, and it just worked. You know, it was so easy, and it just snapped into place, and it was awesome. So it really made the character come to life, which was fun. And at first you don't necessarily know, because we did a lot of it really with real subtle looks, and then there's of course over the top moments. But yeah. We ended up being pretty traditional. We tried to use a couple different routes as far as pipeline goes. I'm a person who my goal in life is to have a show that doesn't use email, so I don't have to see all that email chatter going across. So we were trying to create a pipeline like that, but it's just it's not quite ready for us. So we had to unfortunately abandon it and go back. And I saw a lot of emails, but yeah, we'll get there one day.